board members.
This is Hog Hill.
Yeah.
I got it all.
I sent it to everybody, but when I did the agenda, except Joyce.
After I fought with my printer for now,
Okay.
it turned out to be the Wi-Fi, not my printer or my printer.
Yeah, I still have myself.
Switched to Starlink and it worked great.
So basically, everything you get from them, you get from the municipal association. So there was a bill for our annual dues of $1,200 a couple weeks ago. I wrote a peanut bill. And there's one in there now, and I
So
wrote
Kim,
on it too.
This
Okay.
11,572. That's this one. It's the same one.
Yep.
So we only have one. in front of us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
should we do the minutes for the planning board, Melissa?
I sure do.
Is that is it so just select board and the planning board, or do you do zoning as well?
The zoning has asked me to start doing it as well.
Budget's going up next year.
I did talk to Amy about that. I'm like, there's a lot of extra hours.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a thing.
These are the minutes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at them and pass them around. The joint working session, because I was the only planning board member here, I'm going to bring it to the zoning board and have a speak to them.
When is the next zoning board meeting?
May 24th.
$6 for that.
Do you have any paperwork on the Crane subdivision?
I have my copy. You can certainly look at that. We don't have any updates, but I will,
Oh, okay. Is there any action? It's on the agenda. Is there action tonight?
just because it's old business and I will just say, I reached out, don't have anything. You might as well look at it.
I lost it. Do I sign these?
Well, yeah, we're
If I
gonna sign them.
am okay with it? Or should I wait? Okay, well, I mean, you weren't even here.
No,
so-
No.
That's one of the meetings, the minutes.
These are the ones we're signing.
So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, a little off on time, but say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So thank you all for attending. So we have our roll call. I'm the interim chair, Kimberly Burkhammer. We have our ex officio member, Joe Marco. Chris Gross, our new member. We have another new member, Jim Morgan, and an alternate member, Chrissy McKeon. Come and sit at the table. We'd love to have you.
Wow.
And then we have Melissa Prunier,
Oh,
who's
Um,
our assistant, doing minutes for us, and we can't thank her enough for that.
This is a copy.
Oh, you have a copy of it?
No, there wasn't this one.
Yep, there's copies for
Yep, there should be copies of everything we're looking
I
at
don't know.
today.
There should be two maps.
everyone. 2 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll get that.
So the only board member that's missing would be Larry Rawls, and he'll be here next month. He'll be back. The other two, sorry, we have one board member missing, Larry Rawls, and he will be back next month. And then we'll have a full board. We'd had 2 other people apply, and I've been trying to get a hold of them to offer them alternate positions. But after a week of calling without receiving any type of reply, I'm at my wit's end. I'll send them a letter and just ask them if they want to come in and apply. If I don't hear from them, then I'm going to assume that they are going to withdraw their interest in the board seats. So that's it with roll call and introduction. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes of our last meetings. And I apologize, this is going to take a few minutes because we had several different meetings of different people attending through getting all of the board members together. So bear with us for a few minutes.
Okay, well, I look through them. so I can
Okay,
decide.
go ahead and sign them, and then we'll get them all signed so we can get them scanned in and uploaded.
Is it third?
I need to sign.
Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah,
didn't
she didn't
sign
sign
it.
it.
And then I will give them.
That's the agenda.
That's-
Do these have to be signed?
Yes.
Non-public?
Yes, yep.
Just-
There's no place to sign, you can just sign them at the end.
You wanna do those first? Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
So this is just the subdivision for the already disturbed land for.
So,
Okay, so that was.
The only way they'll take it, if it's already disturbed.
all 3, right?
I have 2 so far.
I have this stuff from last time. Which I think is the same thing.
Did I
This
sign
is
that
just.
one?
Non-public.
I think so. I think I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have our old business, which is just basically an update for the board on an application that we had for the Korean subdivision, which is land in both Croydon and in Sunapee. And I don't have an update. I went on to the Sunapee website to pull their minutes from April. That's when they met in Sunapee regarding it. There weren't any minutes posted. I reached out to Sunapee's planner to ask for an update. I know that they had a concern about road frontage and road access. So I'm not sure where they are on the Korean subdivision. So hopefully we'll have an update next. Want to stand up, please, Clayton, and let Melissa know who you are. Yep.
And he's actually going into, I think he's having a shoulder replacement surgery
So he's having surgery?
And he kind of put things on hold. Once it gets better. So probably won't see anything until August or September, I imagine. What he told me by April.
Okay, thank you, Clayton. All right, that was all I had for old business. Everything else we had taken care of. So that brings us to the new business, which is the Loveland Hill Northwind Security subdivision. Come on up, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Patrick Dombrowski, Lance.
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
Patrick Dombrowski.
Thank you.
The young Patrick.
Yes.
I know your dad, yes. Sorry, but.
Essentially, we're submitting an application to your meeting, is that correct? Here's that. Oh,
Yes, Karen's been very patient with us.
Just the big version of this, right?
Yes, it's just a big version of this.
Oh, you got the big version.
Yes, she sent everything via, Karen was fantastic. She's given us plenty of time to look through everything. She sent everything to us. This has definitely much more detail and it's a lot easier. to
No, yeah. Just a note for the scale, the overall picture, the overall lot is a 200 scale, and the actual area of interest is 100 scale. So essentially, we're just carving 6 acres out of, and the remaining land is 89 acres. There's already a house on it, septic system. Pretty much everything's set. I got a butters list, deeds, easements, and a copy of the septic. And the actual application. Any questions?
We were familiar with this area and knew that there was already the house on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we had given them the permits and stuff for all that previous. They're just taking that section out of the big chunk.
So that's the additional lot line here.
Yes.
Currently, the property goes like this.
Yeah, that's the overall.
Is there a curb cut up here?
I don't know. My dad did this survey the whole thing, and
So this is a driveway cut here, right?
yes.
There's no driveway cut here to the other 89 acres?
I don't think so.
There's an old logging entrance, but nothing has a driveway or anything yet.
Yeah, my dad surveyed it in '95.
There's a couple of, as you go up the hill, there's a couple where you look. I mean, they haven't been used in a long time, but you can tell there used to be something going in there. And then others that used that for logging. Another field work.
I would say probably where the barways are. There could be one there. There's a reason why there's a gap in the wall.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Anyone have any questions?
So I just have to assume, oh, sorry.
Well, this one's not really related to that, but can you show other people how to do this for us? This is-
So
Yes.
it's just, well, I don't use Microsoft products. I use the Open Office.
Yeah.
So, which is exactly identical as the Office, the Microsoft products.
I mean, this list is so much easier than trying to,
They have like labels, templates that you can use in the program, and you just like create these little boxes and you just type in all the stuff in the boxes.
It's cool.
So, yeah, application, butters lists.
So if there aren't any questions, we've all seen this for the last month. It's a minor subdivision, it's all set. We'll put it on the agenda for next month for the hearing. Okay. You just need to send out all the abutters notices and put the notification in the paper.
Okay, now who? We, me or you?
You,
Okay, so.
Yeah, I know we
is there a
don't-
Template or, just a basic sheet saying, it's kind of odd that you're doing that, but.
I know, it's kind of odd that you're doing it.
With the zoning, they had this sheet and I filled it out. You have a sheet?
Let me see what Mr. Marker brings in for you.
We need to have a date for the meeting,
we can
correct,
do
so
the
that it
paper
can go
too?
onto the notice, because it has to
Yep.
They
say,
have to post it on paper?
It-
Seriously?
We can put
Have
it,
done
we
that,
can,
but then we've sent you the charge.
yep.
We can add it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's obvious, yeah, I mean, that, you're right, it's just, it's not that actual advertising.
And that will be June 7th, will be the next meeting.
Right, yep. Is the mailing of the notification.
certified.
Certified.
And then the fee. Do you have it, Joe?
Yes.
Thank you.
And yes, it's very ill.
Oh, yeah, hey, that's good paper, thank you. Great, okay, that is.
Don't show.
Won't even tell. Okay, yeah, it's pretty basic. Okay.
So when you come, just bring,
Yeah, just the return
Notifications
receipts.
like that.
I'm not the return receipts, just the certified mail.
yep, the certified mail, and then your copies, and check for the fee and the notification in the paper. But I'll put you on the, so we'll put the notification in the paper, but we'll tell you what the cost is.
Okay, so you don't need the fees now, you need it in June.
We'll
Okay.
get it in June.
Yeah.
We trust you.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
So do we leave this?
I need this to
Oh,
create a
Yeah.
sheet for the abutters that will be mailed to the abutters. And this is everything else.
Is that what you emailed?
The warranty deed.
Just
Perfect.
a copy of something. And these maps are part of it. So if you want 4 copies, I think that's what that number 1 means. Preliminary layout and then 3 more, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, minor subdivision. Very straightforward.
Yeah, it seems like the most complicated part is contacting all these buttons.
Yeah,
All
they
that
do it.
stuff.
But we don't have a budget, so we can't pull the money out of the budget and have it sent back.
Complaints on that one, that's for sure.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have driveway applications. We have Mr. Clinton Armstrong. And Mr. Armstrong, you're here. How are you today? Good. So, again, I apologize for all of the miscommunication on driveway permits as selectmen, regulations say planning board, something we're gonna get figured out for you, but your driveway permit has been approved by the road agent.
Okay.
As we discussed on the Board of Selectmen meeting. So we're good to go.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to go.
So the check that was here, I think, needs to go to the town clerk, Board of Selectmen. You come in, you get a copy of it, you're good. We're Wednesday. Can we give him a copy of
Yeah, I
this?
can go make a copy.
Thank you, Chrissy. Isn't it nice to have the town clerk on the board? Give us 1 second and we'll get you a copy of that so you can have it. All right, and we have one other driveway permit, and I don't see anybody there. I'll wait until Melissa's back so we can get all of that in the minutes.
So is this driveway permit on a separate piece of land?
It's on a class 6 road on Forehand Road from a subdivision, a 4-lot subdivision. The driveway regulations were done by the planning board back in the 80s. And I think that they needed to be done by the planning board so that they could be held up by the zoning and you could go for a variance. But the driveway permit says select board.
Right.
Regardless, none of us have the knowledge that the road agent does.
Right.
So they really need to go to the road agent so he can look at
That's
them.
what I told Paul. I said, give it to Joe first. I said, we don't even want to see him at the boards because, we would have to go out and look at it, decide on the pitch and everything else, I mean.
Doesn't need a culvert,
Right,
doesn't
so
have
I
an
have,
ASHTO
yeah.
distance.
Our ordinances do talk about that, but the problem is that our ordinance and our application don't match.
Right.
Right, we're
And we need to
gonna
fix
deal
that.
with that.
Yes.
And I think we should have a meeting between the select board and the planning board to
Yes.
square that up.
Clean
It's
that
been a
up.
constant frustration.
Yeah,
for
because it was-
years now.
It was
Yeah.
done one way for years, and then maybe wanted the stuff to come to the planning board, where on the application, there isn't even place for the planning board to sign off and everything. But if you go in and look at the second or third file in the top drawer, it's the original paperwork for the planning board and driveways, and it says that planning board has to, so we need to go through and either straighten out the application or straighten out the file cabinet, one of the two. But we need to streamline it because it just seems like it's so much. You get the permit in here, it's a month or two before you can get it, and
Right.
a lot of times people are trying to get it, beat the winter, beat the fall, beat certain seasons. We need to streamline it in some way.
Well, both boards, Board of Selectmen and Planning Board can select the designee, and we could all do that by just saying, okay, if you meet these standards, Joe Bolio can sign off on them.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good thing to do, because, we're going on his approval anyway.
Right.
The quick fix and the thing that makes the most sense to me
Yeah.
is to make the application match the ordinance, at which point it is between the highway department and the planning board, which makes the most sense.
Well, what we're talking about is getting both boards completely out of it and giving it to Joe. He's happy, it's approved.
Yep, it would just come
So
in.
that streamlines
You
everything.
meet this, Joe does it, and we just all get copies for the files. Because we
Okay.
can say that, but
I make a motion, we approach the select board with that idea.
do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Then I suggest that that's what we do.
Yep,
The next
you and I will bring it at the next meeting.
So our second driveway permit is for a lot on Burton Road. It's Alexandra Shrewsbury. Map 11, lot 666.
Lucky lot.
Yeah. Very
Yeah, that's
much
actually
alive.
Newer's lot. That one hasn't had a new number put on it.
No, it's a brand new lot.
Because 666 was registered to Newark unless she's still building the same. Is that
No.
the name on it?
No, it
Yeah,
is.
because I just saw it this morning, the property card.
Well, maybe she purchased it. I don't know.
Because she owns the land. That's the house down in front, the new one.
Yep.
She owns all the way up to Barton. Those are her two subdivisions.
It is a pretty recent subdivision, end of last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. 666 was under hers unless she's, well, no, it would still be under her because they hadn't sold it yet. So we haven't got the new update with the new owner yet.
Just the rooms.
Yep.
Yes.
So she's got a
Nice.
2-bedroom house plan and the septic, that's what she has for her driveway location. But again, it's signed off on Joe Bolio, so the driveway permit, as far as I'm concerned.
It's done.
Yeah, it says Susan and Joe Newark.
Yeah, yeah, I thought they still had it.
We don't sign off on the building permit, but the
Yeah.
driveway permit is fine.
Yeah.
And there was no check with that one.
No check with that one.
There actually is, Paul.
Oh, wait a minute. I lied.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Paul took it out and showed me and asked what to do. I said, just leave it together.
Thank you, ma'am.
I put it back in the little party envelope.
I'm probably. I gotta look into these.
I mean, we can.
But I guess
look
maybe it
into
doesn't
the,
even matter.
property.
No, I
don't know.
put salt
Yeah, we
at
could
them
do that. I
because
don't
we're going
know
to
where
have
they
to
store
go through the driveway.
I do have some
Yeah.
files. I'll show you.
Well, that's what I gotta get a
That have,
copy
like,
of.
building
Maybe
permits.
it's probably in those.
The paper that it's printed on and the type is
There.
used is just like
And I
what I
think that's
gave
where
her back in the
Oh,
80s.
yeah,
Right in that drawer, maybe.
probably.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would ask Charlene because we're not a part of this process at all.
Yeah. So use the driveway application. Oh, it goes right over there. Here's the highway access ordinance. And Jim, I will send you all of our lovely ordinances.
That's great.
Yeah.
You get double readers.
Oh, I'll get you one of the fine books too.
Yeah, he's gonna need the,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have extra books out back too.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay.
those.
The regulations?
Yes.
I can print one for you if you'd like.
Yes, he's gonna need those.
That
Thank you.
would be awesome.
We'll set you up.
No, that would be entertaining. Read them, see what I mean.
All right. Any other new business before we get to other business?
Well, we still got
Well,
planning board approval, Carl Newton,
Thank you very much.
which I don't know anything about.
Okay, so hang on, let me find
he's
this
a,
letter.
he's a volunteer. That's what I look at.
Yes.
What does the planning board have to do with the appointing a zoning board member?
We are actually, they actually are under us. We are in control of the zoning board.
Okay. I didn't-
So in order for Mr. Newton to sit on the zoning board as a member or an alternate, both the planning board and the select board have to approve him. So the Board of Selectmen voted to accept his application at their last meeting. And so now he has to come before the planning board, which he's doing in this letter, to say that he would like to be an alternate. They would like to have him on the zoning board as an alternate. So we just have to say, we extend our approval of his application to be an alternate on the zoning board.
Nick
And
Roman? No.
Maybe not. Off the top of my head.
Redwater Lane.
Is there any update in terms of the whole, last time we discussed that someone, the moderator, well, he's on the zoning board, this whole thing of there wasn't an ex officio member, they change it, resolve anything about that from
I
the
don't know
select
what they
board?
decided. I haven't dug into it any
Yeah.
deeper. I mean, I was always told that had to have. But they're apparently saying we don't. So I haven't dug into it. I've been working on some other issues that came up.
And then Dominic is approved, right? He's on the
Yes.
board, so this is,
Dominic is the clerk now.
Yeah,
so they're kind of full.
Yep.
Normal,
yes.
and then
I mean,
this
they
is
have-
just
they
an
have-
alternate. Yeah.
Full bodies. I mean, the ex officio would bump one of the others into alternate if it actually went in.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
Well, they've told me that they do not have, and they do not need to have an ex officio member. And it's in the RSA's, there's nothing, it says in the RSA that the planning board will have an ex officio
Yeah.
member, but the zoning board.
Yeah, I had never looked for the zoning.
Zoning board is its own judicial branch,
Yep.
so you can't have a select board member sit on the zoning board.
Yep.
They're not supposed to have contact with the zoning board.
So that's why there's no.
Yeah, because that's the way
ex officio.
they've done it for forever.
We can have a planning board member sit on the zoning board member now to add that continuity, but we can't have, so the only person that can replace you if you're out in a meeting, nope, would be if Ed comes in to be an ex officio alternate.
Okay.
Otherwise, if
Right.
you do not attend a meeting, we just don't have anybody that we can do. Christie can take the place of anyone else, but not you.
I figured she was town clerk.
Ex officio. She's an alternate. Ex officio, you're a member simply because of your office.
No, I've been a member way before I even got elected.
Yeah, but now that you're elected, you're because of your office. You get special treatment.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So it's something that the board as a whole, when we have our organizational meeting, which we will once Larry gets back, because we have to elect members, chair and vice chair and such, we'll have to talk about that and see if we want to extend a invite to get an ex officio alternate. And you're always here, but there's always a chance that you might not be. You are allowed a vacation.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Carl Newton,
I would entertain a motion
Make a
to,
motion to accept.
okay, I'll second.
all in favor?
Uh,
All right, did I miss anything else? Thank you for
Did I
keeping me
see?
on track. All right, so under other business, Clayton, that's where I put you. Okay, because your email was 7 o'clock this morning and I was in my truck on the way to work. So I didn't see it till 5:30 this afternoon. So we can take you as a preliminary plat and you guys can come back, or as a conceptual design preliminary plat next week. I think maybe that's the way to do it because especially with a new board, I want to give them plenty of time to look at things and write down questions, and then you can come back next month and we'll go with the preliminary that way. So it'd be June, so we have the public hearing for the Lover and Hill, we already set that up in June. But we could do a preliminary plat, but this was, all we're gonna do right now is talk conceptual. Okay, so.
Gary's property on Glidden Road, though. That's sort of-
well,
Yeah, give us some, I didn't even have a chance to get this to anybody. They all had their agendas on Friday. So.
Yeah, I was on vacation last week. So
I know you're entitled to a vacation too, but everybody.
This is the land on the north side of Glidden Road of vacation.
So
His house is over here, the barn.
This is the
Glidden
whole
Road.
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the big one that you were remember asking someone about one time, so to split it down the middle and make a U-shaped road and put houses.
I was gonna put in the trailer park.
Yeah, that's right.
Kent said
That's
that.
right. Yeah. So that's.
Who was
this
that?
is much nicer than
I don't
that.
remember.
I don't either.
This is basically right across.
Yeah.
Right across the bond.
Yeah.
It's on the lower part. just
I
above
didn't realize she
Central.
was in there already. Yeah.
She's been in there since before last winter.
Wow. So we do the same thing over here?
Bigger lots.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Don't know yet.
This one isn't sold, I'm just doing it while I'm doing this one. And I still got the one over here above Bonnie that I have. I got a girl who wants it, but she wants another house like Bonnie's.
Yeah.
Older lady, no kids. Retired.
So don't we assign the lot numbers? Or do we just put these for place numbers?
No, the planner, like the surveyors, they call and they ask for, and the assessors, they call and ask for plot numbers. We give
Okay.
them the next potential ones. They don't always wind up using them, so we just kind of highlight them and
Okay.
find out.
As long as, I just want to make
Use up
sure.
one that's on.
Yeah.
I was at the town hall the other day and I always forget that to the last minute.
Yeah.
I'll get them all in here. Maybe Northwest could take the next one.
I feel like it should be the assessors that do it. I don't know why we have that book, but
Charlene's thing, she liked it.
yeah, I think it is because Charlene took it over. I'm not
It's
sure.
kind of nice.
if That's
Kind of nice to
normal.
have more. On the plan.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a 6 acre lot, a 20 acre lot. Larger lots, 200 feet of frontage.
Okay, Joe, so
It's
is this a
gonna be a long
major
driveway.
subdivision?
I know, it's weird.
Well, same with Bonnie right across the street.
It's 3
3.5
lots?
acres. Her house is
It's
about
3
this much of her
lots.
land. 200 feet, she's got her house, her driveway, garage, everything. And then the whole rest of the 3 acres is behind her house on the woods.
That's the white one.
So how does that change?
Yep, fiber black windows.
Yep, we're doing work.
There's a separate lot from the one across the street.
Yeah, subdivision.
Yeah, maybe some contour lines. It's all pretty flat, just not much.
Yeah, it is flat.
Really?
This
This is all flat in here?
Yep,
Pretty much.
It goes downhill a little bit with that. It's not- There's no hills in there.
So no future plans on this?
No. That'll be up on the granddaughter when I'm gone. Do what she wants.
Good lot sizes.
I have to go look at that.
It was on trailer park.
Major minor.
Major, minor,
Yeah, it's a major subdivision.
yeah, it's 3 lots.
Because it's 2 lots of 3.
Yeah, because you're gonna have the 2 that you're creating, and then the third one is gonna be the original lot, so we'll make it 3 lots. And that's what I'm doing, looking for whatever stuff.
And your implications of that will be, we've got that topo and stuff, right?
Yeah,
All the other,
Anything over 2 is major, right?
yeah. 3 or more. Let me go look at it.
That was a question, whether it's 3 new lots or 2.
subdivision minor shall mean the subdivision of land into no more than 2 lots or sites, at least one of which shall be retained by the owner. So that's major.
All right.
Yeah, those women did the 2 on the other side of the road.
Yeah. So you need topo and.
So what's the difference between
Yeah,
major and
that's.
minor subdivision?
Mine would be like the
Minor
one lot.
subdivision is just.
Well, I mean, what's the difference in how you approach it?
And what they have to get when it comes to how they plat it and everything else.
Okay.
Something we've got to put down into an application, so we'll have a checklist so that everybody knows, all of us.
Yes.
Even the surveyors.
Yes,
Yeah.
even the surveyors.
Yeah, we do everything.
So that when somebody comes in and says, this is what I want to do, you'll just be able to hand them an application. And I
Yes.
mean, it's a procedure thing that I've really been wanting to work on for a
Me
while.
too, desperately. That's why I'm here.
So everybody knows what's expected and everybody is treated the same. That's all I want.
Good luck.
And so that I don't have people coming
You know
in.
what? It's good to be the king.
Sometimes it's good.
I'm only the interim king, but right now. it's good to be the king.
So we pretty much get it together for next month and for the official preliminary meeting and then,
Yeah, then we'll set up the hearing and then go from there.
It stretches all the way across.
Yeah, way up there. You'll see a lot more detail on the next one because again, with it being major, there's just more that has to be. Checklist.
hey, can I look at a copy of the plan Patrick just dropped off?
So what's that?
The plan from before for Northwoods?
From Loverin or?
Yeah, from Liberty. I'm just curious because I think it abuts this.
Yeah,
He's on the south side of the road, right?
Yes.
it looks like it.
Yeah.
Well, if
I think
it's the same lot, that's.
I don't know if he surveyed the 6 acres. though. Just curious.
He said that his,
Maybe.
where it's underneath this someplace. Oh.
It is.
One's here.
Yeah.
The one's fine.
Just take one.
Let's see this.
Yeah, that's not.
That's a bit.
Oh, that's a septic.
Oh.
That one?
In fact,
Maybe.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's certainly a little thing. It's like a little-
Those are copies that they sent us.
Where's the fence?
Is there a place, Kim, where like another town has a checklist, or is there on the state website where they do? Because I can make up something like that easily.
I will send you a link to, the planning board. There's an office of OSI, and they look like this big, and all in the back of it, there's all kinds of suggestions.
Mhm.
And then there are many towns about our size that have different checklists.
Mhm.
And I've been kind of combining stuff together, just never had a complete working board meeting where I can
Yeah.
start putting that all together.
And so maybe we can put that on the agenda, like just one per meeting or something like that, where we kind of, I'll have someone draw up a rough draft and then we'll make whatever edits and then we can make it final. Just kind of.
This is what the alternate members, we brought them on for this kind of enthusiasm and working stuff. It's like, yes.
I
here,
have motivation. It will make my life easier.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I will
She
send
ulterior motives.
you- I'll send you
It's
my
for me.
stuff. Yes.
Oh, still
I mean, I've got, ADUs and cell towers and site plans and subdivision checklists and, yeah, all kinds of master plan, tidying up some of the zoning stuff.
So you said the June meeting will be the preliminary what?
The,
It's July, it's July, like,
Probably.
if it's the 4th of July, then I guess we'll either have to do it the week after. I don't know. When is it?
Wednesday is the 5th.
Wednesday's the 5th.
Wednesday the 5th, all right.
Is anybody taking vacation for the 4th of July? Tough.
Tough for you.
Where are you taking us?
Yeah.
Retreat, planning board
A
retreat,
planning
paid
board
for by
retreat,
chair,
yeah.
by chair.
She found it.
Oh, you found it?
United States.
All right, so we're good?
Yeah, that.
Why is your book better than my book?
It's not, that's the state one.
Oh, okay.
I actually
That's
think
the
I
one
need a
that-
paper copy of those. I have it in my email, but it would be good to have. And then I got that.
If you're good with that, there's a public hearing in June, so you'll be after that public hearing.
Yeah.
But that's
I've got
minor
everything here.
subdivision.
October
I don't
17th,
think it'll be all that
1986.
long.
Yep.
So,
Master plan's 1980.
Brand new.
If it ain't broke.
Want me to read you the hours?
Before cell phone, before the internet, well.
thank you.
All right.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. You want to take this so we can
Sure.
look at it, and write the questions down?
From what I understand, I don't really have a lot of questions. The only things that we really, I guess, maybe I should look to see what it is that we're supposed to be looking for, but we're looking for 200 feet of road frontage.
Mhm.
And we want to make sure that it's buildable, like, right, an area where there's some flat land for building, and then what else are we supposed to?
So the lots are large enough that it doesn't have to provide us with septic, I think. But if it's a major subdivision, we might even have to require that. Well,
We need-
that's Joe.
50 feet from borders
Needs to have
for,
setbacks.
yeah, and that's 50 feet, correct, from
35, I think.
35, okay.
We'll have to look at the
South.
zoning, yeah.
200 for septic?
So Joe, on the major subdivision, because it's major, doesn't he have to provide septic? Even with the lot size?
Has to do the plans, plus there has to be,
Test pit shown and topo.
septic shown, yeah, because of setbacks and everything, especially.
Well, he knows that.
Yeah, Clayton knows that.
Yeah, he knows all that.
No, Christie was asking.
I was
Oh,
asking
yeah.
about setback,
Yeah, it's 30, anything, most, everything's gotta be
35.
35 feet,
and then
From the line.
75 for septic is what you're.
75 for the septic.
And the well, yep. There'll be a protective well radius where you can see
And
it.
75 feet from any wetland.
That's what I was thinking, the 200, so it's only 75 from wetland, I thought it was,
Septic tank.
From the septic.
yeah, that's the one that I thought was 200
Yeah.
from, any waterways or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like a river or a lake,
100,
100.
yeah. But you can, that's a protective radius, but you can go into it a little bit more than that. We don't have anything in our zoning ordinances about that. Another thing to look at.
Well, I think the zoning ordinances say that you need to refer to the state. Yeah.
But we can be more
Yes.
strict.
Okay.
So the town can do more stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, you just follow whichever is.
More restrictive, yeah.
So what's the process of developing ordinances? Are the ordinances in Croydon developed by the planning board and submitted to the select board?
Well, we're actually in the process
The
of
process of
doing
creating
certain
process.
things. Well, we're updating the ordinances, adding some things. What we're gonna do, we have set to work on a master plan, well, not a master plan, but a septic or site plan. We have the ADU plan order. The ADU plan is one of our biggest issues right now because until we get our regulations in, they're on the state, which is a lot more lenient than what we have planned. So we have that, the site plan, and cell towers. On book, we need to finish the site plan and we can have a special meeting, which reminds me. We may have a reprieve on slinging this out by the end, okay? But I'd still like to move very diligently on getting it handled before we have too many people coming in with extra ADUs. We already have several people changing garages into living spaces and things like that. You know, so need to get that in. The cell tower thing, that's gonna take a bit before somebody else puts one in.
Well, first off, they come in for a cell tower, we can refer them to the state RSAs.
Yeah, I mean, we have the states right now because that's pretty much what some of ours is. But anyway, anything, we can change wording in the ordinance just by a meeting in here with town. Any ordinances that we construct, new ones, major changes into them or changing the general idea, we have to do through town meeting. So we have a list. The zoning board's been working on rewording some of the stuff and getting the loopholes out of the zoning ordinances. I don't know how far they've gotten on it. There's a few things that we want to add. and put in there. The ordinances themselves will have to go to town meeting. We'll have all that prepared, ready to go to town meeting. We'll have warrants in for them. We have to hold hearings, just like regular.
Right, but my
Yeah.
question is, who initiates
We,
Oh, we
the
do.
ordinance?
for the zoning
Planning board?
ordinances.
Yeah, we do.
Zoning, the zoning board does zoning ordinances. That's the zoning.
Well, they're
Ordinances.
judicial. We make them.
Yeah, but does the planning board initiate or does the select board?
No, we do. The
We
planning
do,
board
yeah.
initiates, yes.
Yes.
And there's a couple of things that we have to tweak, and actually a couple of chapters in the master plan we'll have to put in order to do several things that are going to be necessary.
Right,
We don't
because-
have really a transportation chapter or a communications chapter,
Is there
And
a,
see, without it in the master plan, our ordinances have no teeth.
right?
is there a blight ordinance?
No,
Blight?
no,
No.
So we should talk about a blight ordinance.
there's
We
not
had,
really a
we had
jump
at one
ordinance.
point last year, I don't know if you were on
What's
yet
a
or
blight
not.
ordinance?
You were
Blight
before,
ordinance
because they were going
Is
between
an
junkyard and
ordinance
junkyard.
that basically says that if you have a dilapidated structure
Oh,
that is
that's not-
close to the road, that the town instructs you to take it down,
Sounds familiar.
okay? And if you don't take it down, the town.
One up at the top of
So
Lover and
the
Hill.
one,
And the
one at the
greenhouse.
bottom
The
of,
greenhouse.
one at the bottom of Lover Hill is a good example of a blight ordinance. And so
The one
if
at the
you-
top of it, you mean?
The bottom, one right by your right,
Yes. Oh my God, I hate green.
okay? So,
Oh, Kitty Fogg's house.
so
I don't know who it is, but so many people
Someone-
have asked him
last
about
I
it,
heard,
and I've
someone
written
from-
to him so many times. I'm like, please do something.
So
I heard
if you
someone
had
from
a,
the park may have an interest in, or
it's owned by someone.
I was gonna say, I thought it was.
So if you want to take care of properties like that,
Mhm.
and you don't have an ordinance, you can't do anything.
Mhm.
So if we had a blight ordinance, the blight ordinance would be very specific to, abandoned and dilapidated structure.
Yeah.
For health and safety reasons.
For,
Health and
more
safety.
so for kids that get hurt.
Yeah, they call it.
It's really what it is.
An
Or some
attractive
kid lights a
nuisance.
fire, and that
Yes.
fire causes, a fire at the next door house. So it's actually a very important ordinance to have, because everybody's complaining about that particular house, and the town can't do anything about it. But if you had the blight ordinance, you could do something about it. You send notice to the property owner, give them 90 days to take the structure down, make it safe. And the other thing that's nice about a blight ordinance is that you can also, homeowner contact the fire department. Fire department could use it as a training.
They won't
exercise.
push too much on the state because we tried with there and Lover and Hill, or Pine Hill.
Pine Hill.
Yeah, they wouldn't
do it.
When But sometimes you can do that. They
Yeah.
can use it as a training exercise. They can light this on fire and
That'd
burn
be
it all
so
down.
The issue with the structures here, that they're old enough that there's asbestos and
And
other
lead.
materials, that they
Yeah.
can't
Lead.
burn them. But they could take it down. Whatever cost the town incurs in that then becomes a lien on the
Correct.
property, and the person
What we
can,
did up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly like that with the
Yeah.
greenhouse there. Yep.
So just so I'm clear, if we decide that we want to make even simple changes such as the one about the driveway permits and everything, then we have to put something together and then it needs to be presented at town meeting. So the only time that we can actually make it
To make
official will be once a
ordinances.
year.
To make ordinances. Driveway permits, we won't have to, because that's just something we have to work out between the board, because the ordinance is already written. And we just need to change the paperwork to match the ordinance.
The ordinance for the highway access already says the planning board or the planning board's designate.
Okay.
All we
Yeah.
have to do is designate Mr. Bolio.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, and that cuts
Would you
everything
name him
out.
Specifically, or would you put it in as road agent?
Road agent.
Road agent.
Yeah. That would be the easiest.
So is there any flavor of the board that you'd want to investigate at some point in time, a blight ordinance? I'm just curious what the feeling of the board is.
I'm down for the one.
I mean, I guess I don't know the big picture of, like you said, these main things. I mean, it seems to make sense if you're gonna,
Can you be
I
able
mean, we probably need to start planning what our goals are for the next town meeting now, right? So we can get through everything and,
We're too late, really. We really are too late. You have to start planning for next town meeting right after town meeting. But we can start getting some things together. So one of the things about a site
We
plan,
have enough
Yeah,
that
we
we
have
can
time.
approach with part of what we need to do.
Yes.
What we need to do entirely, we have nowhere near time.
We have time to get started anyway. It's
Yeah.
not like we're gonna be able to
We can get
redo
started.
everything, but we can.
Right, we can get started and do part of it. That way, plus we don't want town meeting to go 4 hours just on planning.
no.
You know.
Kim, if the board wants, I'll get you guys a copy of what a light ordinance looks like, so you guys can look at it.
Anything you can bring in there.
yeah, I mean, that's what well, I don't know if there's already some draft stuff of ADU or any of this that could just be like emailed so people could just get caught up.
You want drafts of ADUs and cell towers and site plans?
Sure.
Send them out, yes.
Well, just to get up to speed, like where we're at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
because that's
Send me
what we've
everything.
already worked on.
Because I,
Yeah, we've already worked on those.
I'd love to see.
because I came to a few
Site
meetings when you were
plan.
working on it, but that
Site
was,
plan, we still have more work to do on.
I'd like to
And-
see
and
the
we were
cell
kind of
tower ordinance
hoping
and the-
that-
and the ADU ordinance.
And we kind of hoped that one of the new members would lead on
Email them to
site
you.
plan
Yep.
work.
Site plan ordinance.
What would be nice about the site plan ordinance is we could easily take the site plan, which doesn't affect anybody's single-family home or a duplex. But if you're going to change the use of a property into a commercial use or multifamily, then you would require a site plan. And if something is a change of use, we might be able to work it into where we could say, okay, if it's not being used as a single family, it's just sitting there and falling apart, we might be able to get some leverage in it that way because it doesn't meet the health and safety codes.
Mhm.
And again, working with Jason Rook, he has a problem. He's got a tanker truck. So there's a fire safety code that we have to be cautious of. How can he get that tanker truck to some of the places he needs to get to in some of the weather? So if it's really dilapidated and there's a cause for alarm, we have to make sure that we're not going to have something that could burn and start burning down all the forest and then get to other people's homes.
So right now, where you don't have any coverage from fire really on any of the approvals that you do. So like when you're putting a road in or when you're putting a long driveway, like this 20 acre
second
lot.
one, yeah.
Mhm.
So that 20 acre lot in a normal situation, in an updated situation, they would have to have a minimum width driveway.
Mhm.
And they would have to have a turning radius at the end of
Yep.
that driveway.
Yes, they should.
For a fire truck to turn around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they can put in a dry hydrant or a cistern.
Yep, they can. But those are things that, those are factors that get built into the planning process. So when you do a major subdivision, you have to have turning radiuses, you have to have setbacks, you have to have fire suppression has to be looked at, but we don't have anybody inspecting to do any of that stuff. So that would be a policy that would have to be written by the planning.
Yes.
We can utilize the fire chief for an inspector, but we have to go through the process of voting it in, doing research, setting it up. Jason's willing to do that. I've talked to him about it. I need to bring it up to other people to see what kind of interest we have in doing it. And we can set it up. There is a certificate of compliance that's already listed along with the building permits. And we can utilize the issuance of that after he checks it and says yay or nay.
So that's like gas line inspections too.
Right.
So typically, when you have a municipal fire department, this is a volunteer. Typically, when you have a municipal fire department, they get a fee to go and inspect for the gas. They get a fee to go and inspect for that. So I don't know how the town's people would be very receptive to volunteer fire department charging a fee to go in and inspect.
Right. Well, that's part of it. If the thing is, if we hire him as the town inspector.
That'd be something.
It would go to the town.
Right. And it would be actually his position itself, nothing to do with the fire department.
I mean, people don't seem to have the issue with paying the permit fees for anything else, and so it may not be that big of a deal, depending on what the fee is that he charges, but.
Yeah.
So that was one of the other things that we were doing.
Was the fee
You know,
schedule.
Yeah, we were doing a fee schedule
Right.
because, it's $5 here, $10 there. And it's $30 to do a subdivision.
And $2 for a certificate of compliance. And if you actually read the ordinances, you don't need a building permit. You need the $2 certificate of compliance.
And I spent, I did how many pieces of paper here and copies and 11 by 17 to make sure everybody had a copy of everything. And we're charging $30 for a subdivision. I'm doing
Yeah.
this out of my own.
And then I asked him earlier on the question of, because we have to work on controlling development, either with a growth.
We had been talking about,
growth ordinance.
remember, like I said to you, about restricting the number per year.
Yep. And that would fall back on impact.
See, I wish all the developers were like him, though. I said something to him and he pops in slow with the developments, and what he's building isn't gonna have a huge impact.
A lot of people will be very receptive to that, because a lot of people are worried about it with the larger land sales.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
Northland
big time.
Security one and things of that nature.
So it might be, again, I go back to maybe changing some of the zoning.
Yeah,
We might end up going to larger lot sizes. And maybe by doing that, you say, okay, maybe instead of 200-foot frontage, you give us a 15-acre lot and we'll give you 100 feet, and it can never be subdivided again.
Right.
So now we have 15 acres in the backland, but you've only got 100 foot of road frontage, but there's a restriction in the deed. That's it,
yeah.
not one lot.
Okay, you gotta be careful because you can't spot zone. And
No, it would
so
be a
the
swap.
First, so the first step in that process would be to get all of the available large parcels around and identify, the planning board identify all the large parcels around that are buildable. Some of them aren't buildable, some of them
Yeah.
are hills and stuff like that, but, Charlie Luger's place would be a developable property. Those types of things. And then you assess how many that you have and what the access is to those acres.
There's our lovely.
I saw that map needs help.
It's stellar, come on.
But then what you can do, and is once you have an idea of what the potential is in 3 acres, and you can look at it, and then you can just plug it in and say, okay, well, how many house lots would I have? 4 acres on, 8 acres on, 10 acres on. And then you can decide that if there's a 100-acre lot that's coming in, you're only going to allow X number of lots on the parcel. You could do it that. There's a ton of different ways that you can do it, but if you don't have it, somebody can come in and say, here, I want to put 50 houses up, there's 200 acres, and I'm doing 50 houses, 5-acre lots. And you guys, we as a board,
And it's only
have to,
$30 for the.
right? If we have no guidance, we have no rules, we have to sign it, otherwise the town could be sued. So. Those
I
are
have
things that,
destroyed towns in the past for
No,
horror stories.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've said all along that our tax rate is very fragile. I don't think people understand how fragile it is.
Geez, we get a 200
Super
lot
rough.
subdivision and the whole town is going under.
I wouldn't say under, but I would say the whole town's going to have a heart attack, yes.
Yes, yep.
So, we have time because nobody's presented a plan. Somebody comes in and presents a plan, and you don't have time. So that's why getting the zoning stuff together is probably more important than cell tower or those types of ordinances. Just coming up with a zoning.
Yeah, you see, all of those have to go to town meeting.
Town meeting.
Yeah.
And then we have to convince the citizens who's never had to worry about this kind of stuff.
Right.
Need this kind of.
Yeah.
I think that.
And
I
we
think
had
it's-
2 hearings.
Yeah, but I think we're a decade to 2 decades away, but I think it's coming because there's a housing shortage. I mean, just look at what Southern New Hampshire's done in the last 10 years.
No, there's a housing shortage.
So Canada
Lebanon-
shuts down their border.
Yeah, Lebanon and for Dartmouth, that whole area, they're coming down here.
Yep.
So it's all sinking in, it's slowly filtering into Lebanon. They're buying out there. I mean, you can't buy in Lebanon now without it being $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, and they're looking for places to come. Ken's right there, and it's a highway.
And
Very
so
easy
a
to
lot
get
of the
up.
ways to offset that type of development is with commercial development because the select board's responsibility is to grow tax bases as best they can. So
I like commercial more than residential.
commercial, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so,
Absolutely.
if you could get something in along Route 10 that was commercial, We already have Crete pavers there. We already have an auto body shop. We have some other stuff. There's other land that's available.
Yeah.
And if it's,
Commercial.
yes,
I mean, it's a nice
commercial,
frontage. The one, Semino, the one next to Quimby, that owns all the way up there, that is another big one that I'm worried about. Now Semino has considerable frontage on 10 in that property.
there's a lot of ledge.
Yeah,
The only thing that I would think that we could do is if we could increase the frontage off of 10.
yeah,
And then, that would be fantastic for commercial
yeah,
space.
because like from the second part south, from there down, all of this on this side to the next property used to be Powers, it's now Semino.
Yep.
And
But then we want to keep the village here as much of a village as possible.
well, Village District is pretty much done expanding. I mean, there isn't a lot you can do. The worst part in the village would be Harry Newcomb's place.
Mhm.
You know, that would be the worst part of the village.
District
Yeah,
encompasses a lot of 10. That's the issue.
yeah, well, the majority of it, I mean, there's a big chunk of it that's on Newcomb's. That's the biggest property in there is his. Because everything else on the other side, like along Cash Street, it stays on this side of Cash Street. Them are smaller, you know, and definitely one neighbors. You know, so.
And the other way that, the other way that you protect and slow down growth is with conservation. And I noticed that we don't have a lot of conservation land.
Nope.
Croydon.
We have very little conservation land. I made a color map of our conservation land. We actually, the town voted in a conservation commission, but there's no conservation commission.
No.
Because sometimes buying, we'll use Lovern Hill as an example. There's 400 acres up there, was $1 million. On that over 30 years, it's going to be like 30 cents on the tax rate. And I think people would rather spend 30 cents and have 100 kids show up.
I had pitched that to Russell. I was like, we should convince the town to just buy Laverne Hill and then we can all use it as hunting. Everybody wants to
Right.
hunt that property. We
Right.
all love it to be the way that it is, but nobody seems to be interested. For some reason.
They
I think
don't-
it's because people don't know how.
Yep, they don't want to, money, they don't, yeah, it could be that they.
You say the final number and they're like, ah.
Yeah.
Well, I
it's
mean,
a-
there's those nonprofits that do.
Oh, there's quite a
land
few. I had
trusts.
6 people that were ready to kick in 60, 100,000 each to get it, but I could never get past 5.
We
You
could
know?
have presented,
I
I
could
think,
never
in a
get
warrant
close.
article to the town meeting,
Yeah.
to the town as a whole to buy it,
Right.
not just like a few random people in town.
Right.
Yeah,
No, because I tried bringing it up with Russell and he's like, oh, I don't know.
exactly, yeah.
I think that the best policy is it never hurts to ask and explain why you're
Right.
asking.
Right.
And if the voters,
that would have been-
voters say no, but I mean,
And if you can show green space and how connected green space allows for, animals to wander around and increases people being able to use the land, then they actually can get it. They understand it.
well, it's really a plan to preserve the tax rate. And I think you can sell it to people easily if you were trying to preserve your tax rate. Because it's going to be a combination of ordinances, conservation plan, blight. It's all of those stuff helps contribute to slowing development now.
And a conservation of space, everybody's worried. I mean, I'm one, like when I saw that was being sold on Laverne Hill, I kept looking at the hill and being like, goodbye, you're so beautiful. Now it's just gonna be tons of people. And I know a lot of people just want to keep their space a little bit,
Yeah, well, I think that this town is good for that, right? That's why people come here. So, I mean, as soon as I heard Lovern Hill was sold, I was like, what?
Everybody was panicking. Yeah.
Plus it went for less than what she had it bid at or listed at.
But if the town wants to be in a position to do that, I think that if people know the town's in a position to buy conservation land, there might be people that love the town and want to have their land go to that.
Well, she moved.
I know. Pretty
Where
large group
does the
of people that
timber
want-
tax go?
Pardon?
The timber tax?
Timber tax?
The timber tax, no, land use change tax. So your land use change tax, the town can vote to take all of the land use change tax and
Conservation,
fund
yep.
just to purchase conservation land.
I had
Makes
looked into Clarence, Ohio, or Clarence, New York. What they did is they passed an ordinance that stated if you want to keep the town growing the way it is, keep it the way it is, not to grow and everything,
then the town has the right to bid on all properties that come in. And it surprisingly got big back. They dropped a lot of the planning ordinances and stuff because the town would buy up most of the big properties. And it wound up costing actually chump change per
In
resident.
comparison to
Now,
what it would
I
cost.
brought that New York thing up to Russell Todd. I've been looking at that for years. It's an awesome idea to have.
Yep.
And he just, was too much worried about what's here and put that on the back and everything.
Well, I think everyone's cognizant of the fact that if we don't do something now, we're gonna pay for it later.
Yeah.
And you want to get that balance of not denying people reasonable use of their own properties, of course, but also, trying to serve those interests. So, yeah. I don't want to put so many like place that people like can't. They buy a piece of property and they can't do anything.
Yeah,
But
no,
I didn't buy my property to tell you what to do with yours.
right,
Yeah.
right, which is why conservation land is so amicable to everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody, it's like, well, we're a taxpayer dollars went to buy it, taxpayers can use it. And everybody can use it. To your point, they could have hunted, done all that stuff.
Right.
It's all
The
open
trails,
for
yeah.
everybody to use it.
Right.
And the whole idea about an ordinance is not to tell people, it's so that everybody can live together reasonably,
Mhm.
so that what somebody does on their property doesn't affect the person next to them. So you're not living next to a blighted house.
Yeah.
So you're not living next to somebody who is, I don't know, having a band till 4 o'clock in the morning every single day.
We do have a
Well, I think that's okay if they invite you over.
I'm just trying to pull these out of my.
Hear our fires down.
Some of them were complaining about my loud parties.
Or the used car lot down the road, or something that's just, it's like, okay, wait a minute. You have a reasonable expectation to do what you want on your property, as long as it doesn't affect my reasonable expectation to enjoy my property. That's all. As long as they don't overlap, you do what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever hear me suggesting ordinances to constrict property. I'm more concerned about growth management.
Yeah.
Yep.
And making sure that slow down any large development.
I think everybody's on board with that idea. Wonderful.
So we still have on the to-do, besides
You're gonna have-
these various things, there's still a plan to do like a joint zoning planning. I mean, there was kind of one, but it was only
Yes.
you, right? So,
Yes, it was, it was only me, yes. I still think that we need to have crossover meetings, working meetings with zoning and working meetings with the select board.
So you should check into the topics of discussion with zoning, because they are their own judiciary body. So there's some things you can't talk about with zoning. You can do ordinances, you can do zoning changes, things like that.
That's what we talk about, updating master plan, the
Yep.
different ordinances, tidying up the verbiage in the zoning ordinance, the zoning ordinance, how it affects what we're doing. If we're working on an ordinance, we're bringing in a new ordinance, how the language that they have would
Mhm.
need to just be tightened up. Some of it is so old, it's not applicable anymore.
And then my last question for the night is, has anybody called the state and asked the state about grants for master plan investment for small community, small cap grant?
No, nobody's called,
So
talked to about.
we should contact the state. I
Has
mean, I
it
can take that.
Paul? Isn't that what
I don't,
he was calling for a grant for something?
Updating.
Moose,
yeah.
Oh,
I asked him to look about for digitizing, and that's what I'm
Correct.
talking.
yes,
Yeah,
that
it's
would be one.
digitizing records grant.
Yep.
That's what I'm glad for, but
Yep.
this is more of there was something at the state to give communities help with master plan. I would follow up with Elliot.
Yeah, talk to them. That's their housing thing, but if
Oh,
you,
yeah, okay.
you
All
can
right.
reach out to them and Upper Valley
I'll call the.
Planning, that's who it is.
Just to get them working on
I'm gonna go print a couple of these. You need one, correct?
Yeah, I'll take a hard copy.
Thanks, Kristen.
I have all of the tax maps, the latest ones from 2023 in PDF. I will send them all out to everybody.
We have copies also of tax maps, by the way, if anybody need that I believe are available, planning to even take out.
Do you have them in PDF?
We have them in PDF, but we also have physical copies.
Okay.
They gave us 4 copies, so
All right.
on top of what we already have.
Yeah, I have them in PDF. I was just gonna shoot them out to everybody, so. And all the ordinances. Lots of lovely reading.
So next time's the preliminary thing for the double lot, and then the main thing for the bigger, or the 6 acre.
Yeah,
The,
so in June, we're gonna have a public hearing.
Yeah.
So they're bringing
For the north
everything in, for the public hearing for the Loveland Hill one. That's the minor subdivision, Northland Security. And then, Gary Quimby and Clayton are gonna bring in a preliminary for the major subdivision on Glidden. And then I will have heard back, I'm sure, from Michael in Sunapee and have a
Yeah.
better update on the Korean sub. Clayton said it's gonna put on hold for a while, but
What is Clayton's last name?
Plat.
that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I
Probably all
plan
better
on
work for us.
doing is getting in here and having an agenda set up for the Friday before the meeting. So everybody will have at least the weekend of knowing what we've got going on.
one, like what Christie said, do we wanna, I mean, I don't know where like the ADU regs thing is at, but if you could send the draft and we just put it at the end, like 15 minutes to just discuss, next month, we can all take a look.
Yep.
At the end, after the business part, talk about it.
Sure.
And then try to get rolling.
Tim, do you have the updated tax maps, the ones that were just updated? Okay.
Yeah, Clayton gave them to me, the ones from 2023.
Do either of you want me to email you the zoning regulations as well? I mean, I'm printing the planning ones, and I could print the zoning ones too if you wanted, or I could just email you the zoning. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'll put my email,
Your email and phone number as well, please. And I need your
business.
non-town clerk stuff, just for this stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
At some point, we ought to look into having town emails across the board. because
We
they're
are
all
getting
91A.
there.
It-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming, it's coming.
We're trying our best to get that because yes, I agree.
Yeah, okay.
I have to just use the piece of paper.
Oh, okay. You
No.
want to?
I mean,
I have
I may
copies.
have it.
Oh,
We could get set up with the enterprise Gmail.
Yeah, that has everything on it.
Oh. Mine's easy.
Yeah, as long as they spell it right. I did.
Yes, we have a email.
You
I
started
mean, a
a new one.
family, yeah.
Clan.
Yeah,
Like
family
you said.
email.
Sort of our little clan members.
We are.
Storage space is running out.
Yeah.
All the files are gonna
Town
hit.
email-
I'm gonna be.
Town email's a nice thing.
What's that?
Town email's a nice thing to have.
Yes, it's coming.
It's through Civics Plus. No, I don't know.
No, it's not. We're working on, I'm trying to find the email provider, making sure it's very secure, figuring out some kind of a portal for links or documents.
Sure. Microsoft. Probably not supported by the system here. Maybe some tech
No.
issues.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be good.
Yeah, I'm doing my best and trying to keep it on
The budget,
the budget line, yeah. So,
May also, well, I guess he's already looking at other grants for modernization.
we can do
Like you said,
it
the tax
very
return, right.
easily if you email and do the two-factor authentication. It's just any documents or links. I mean, there's no sense in having an email if people can't send you documents or they can't send you something
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're gonna open
yeah.
up. So if you're gonna open it up, then we need to be able to make sure that you're not opening it up by downloading it onto the system. That's the issue. going to do that here, then action, and
there's
so
a-
then there's a file portal. You can purchase a file portal, and everything can be put into the file portal. If you're going to send me a document or link, we only accept PDFs or Word documents, and you have to send them to the file portal. If you don't do that, we won't take them.
Mhm.
And then you open them up there, and everything is contained in the file portal. But that's
It's
expensive.
expensive.
But that's where you get all your viruses.
Oh, yeah,
Kim, it's only in the cloud.
Yeah.
It's only the cloud that costs money.
and the leaks, the intrigue,
So
the
those
Croydon
are all-
papers
Those are all things that.
we published.
Yeah. Last thing we want is, oh, ransomware hits
Oh.
Croydon, yeah.
You still have to keep the bus moving down the road while you make
Yeah,
small changes.
Yep.
You can't just stop progress because you don't like the way things are done.
we do the best we can.
All right, well,
All right, so while Christie's doing that, I say it's 8:15. Do I,
Oh.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
So you guys have to, she's printing something out. for
Yeah.
you.
One. I got it. I think Chris.
Yeah.
I got all this pile of papers that we got. Oh. I gotta get a tube holder. Oh, thank you. Ooh, Chris, $2.